Alright YouTube, what is going on? It's Hightower 5000 here. Today bringing a brand new quest guide. Today we're going to be doing Missing My Mummy. I can start this quest by speaking to Leela in Draenor Village. The requirements I need for this quest are Ichlarin's Little Helper, the Golem, Diamonds in the Rough. I'm also going to need 35 magic, 35 crafting, 35 prayer, 35 cooking and 35 construction. This quest is an intermediate quest and the length is medium. Alright, so the items you will require for this quest are a crush weapon of some sort. Right here I've got a granite maul. Doesn't matter what crush weapon you use at all, as long as it is a crush weapon. If you want to find out what it is, hover over it. As you can see, it says style crushing. You also need a jug of wine, a spice, a piece of wheat. This can be picked actually from the field just north of where we start the quest. An empty pot, 20 fire runes, a willow log. You also need an Alcarid flyer. I'll show you how to get this later on in the quest when we get to that section. I've already got one for later on in the quest though. You will also need this here, a ring of Charos A. And the final item you will need is a sq'irk juice. I made a guide on this recently, the Sorcerer's minigame. Basically from that you get different types of juice: winter, autumn, summer and spring. Bring any one of those. I used a winter one for this guide. I've actually already used it up, so I'm going to have to go and get myself another one. But you will need one of the season sq'irk juices for this quest. Also recommended items, I've got myself combat gear. There's not going to be any monsters I believe over level 70, so as you can see at 115 I'm going to have no problem, but always as a precaution I just bring a prayer pot and some food. We're going to be in the desert, so water skins are highly advised. Also got an emergency teleport in case things go wrong. I've also got myself some basic combat gear as well. Nothing too advanced because it is going to be only level 70s we're going to be killing. Also, if you do struggle with the desert heat, you can also bring desert robes if you want. However, we are going to need to keep some free inventory slots. We're at least going to need 4 at all times, so you don't want to ram your inventory too much. So if you want to find Leela, Leela is located just to the north of the jail in Draenor Village. Here she is. So to start the quest, what we're going to do is go over and talk to her. And then basically straight away she's going to prompt you with the Missing My Mummy quest, so of course we're going to go ahead and accept it. Now what you want to do is continue through our dialogue. If you want more information about the quest, then go ahead and read it. And then once you're finished with that that is the quest started. Just before we get started, I do apologise. I need to say that I do have an ulcer on my tongue right now, so I do apologise if I'm slurring any of my words or not pronouncing words right. Anyway, so for this first part, what we're going to need to do is go back out to the ruins of Uzer. Highly recommend going to Alcarad, then Shanty Pass, then from the Shanty Pass out to the ruins. From the ruins we're actually wanting to go to the south, and there's a pyramid just located to the south of that, which is where we need to go to. Also, alternatively, if you have access to the Fairy Ring network, then use the code DLQ, and then from there that'll take you into the desert. You just want to run pretty much directly east and you will arrive at the pyramids. Okay, so once you come through the Shanty Pass, what I'd recommend doing is getting a flying carpet. Now that we've just done the previous quest to this quest, now we can actually travel to Uzer. So I'm going to travel to Uzer, but this will make and speed this whole quest up by quite a bit. I'll still have the map on screen though. So now that we're at the Temple of Uzer, what you want to do from here is run pretty much directly south. And then eventually you will come across this pretty epic looking pyramid here. Looks like it only has 3 stories actually, but it looks quite cool, quite difficult to miss. But once you arrive here, what you're going to do is enter into the pyramids. Now once you're inside the pyramid, there are going to be a lot of these skeletons on the floor. What we're going to have to do is rummage through them and get a few items. 4 items we require are the Scroll of the Dead, a canopic jar, pyramid journal and a mummy hand. These will be located throughout the pyramid. Make sure you have obviously 4 inventory slots to pick them up. Anyway, I'm going to start off here by rummaging this skeleton. Hopefully it might give me something. What's going to happen is it's going to stand up and attack you. But there's the first thing, the canopic jar. So that's 1 item required. I've now come up this east side here, up down this cave area, and there's now 2 skeletons here. I'm going to kill them and see if I get anything. As you can see, this time unfortunately there's nothing, and once again there is nothing. Anyway, now that I searched that east passageway, I'm going to come up the middle now. And then as you can see now, I've got myself the pyramid journal, which is quite handy. There's another skeleton in the west of the central room. This looks quite smart actually. I think it's supposed to be a boat on water, but what you want to do is come along to your west here, and there's going to be these large imposing doors. What you want to do is go through here. There's a lot of skeletons in here which we can rummage. Quick note here as well, all three will stand up if you just rummage one here. This is the only situation where this happens. If you are lower level, then be prepared for combat. And as you can see from killing all three of them, I've got myself the mummy hand. And now basically all I require is the scroll of the dead. And I just came down, further down this western section, and I managed to get myself the scroll of the dead, nice and easy, like so. You're then going to get a prompt in your chat box saying this seems like the sort of evidence that Leela was after, I should go talk to her now. First of all though, I'd recommend reading the scroll of the dead. That is quite long, and then also read the pyramid journal as well. You don't actually have to full and read them, but just skip through them. This will help us out with the quest. If you want to, you can read them obviously. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Leela in Draenor Village. Okay, so once we're back in Draenor Village, what I want to do is talk to Leela. And then basically declare your findings to her. And then what's going to happen is the screen is going to go blank. She's basically viewed these items now. And then what will happen next? So she's now going to give you 5 options. You're going to now have to go through all these options. And then once you've gone through the top 4 options, select option number 5. And then basically that is you exiting out of that chat. So if you now come in and check the quest log, there's a lot for us to get on with now. What we need to do to complete this quest is to reconstruct the mummy to a percentage of at least 75%. It will indicate in here what the percentage is. Currently I'm at 0 because I've not started rebuilding it yet. Make sure obviously though throughout this quest you are looking back into your quest log. This is really handy, it actually tells you the percentage, which you never actually did before. Alright, okay, so we now need to start rebuilding the mummy. So we're going to get started off with the name. We're going to work through this list. So what you're going to have to do is I think I need to go to Ali Morrisane. Might have some clues on the documents I need. He's located in Al-Kharid Market, so what I'd recommend doing is teleporting out to Al-Kharid. Okay, now at this stage, if you've not already got your sq'irk juice out or your Ring of Chaos, what you want to do is go withdraw them out the bank right now. I do apologise, I would have obviously originally said bring them at the start, however I thought they were optional at the start, but turns out they are required. One final thing we do need to get though is the Al-Kharid flyer. To obtain this, what we need to do is from Al-Kharid we want to run right up to the very north on our way to Varrock, past the mine basically, and there's a kid round about the entrance or the exit from the desert into grassy area who will give you a flyer. From here, Al-Kharid, I'm going to speed up my walk to him. Anyway, once you finally get up here, just past the mine, what you want to do is you'll see this guy here, Ali the leaflet dropper. What you want to do is right click on him and take a flyer, and then you'll have a flyer which is one of the items we're going to need. I now recommend going back to Al-Kharid, and now we're going to go and talk to Ali in the market. Okay, so once you're back in Al-Kharid, what you want to do from the lodestone anyway is run north to the market. Whereabouts the balloon is located on your minimap, there's a musical note, there's also a cooking range, and there's also a dice on your minimap as well. This is the market area with all the stalls in it. Ali is going to be located where the dice is located on your minimap. You're now going to want to talk to him, and then you can select option number 2. I have some questions about the tomb, and then you want to select option number 1. I'm after a way to reunite the mummy of the pyramids. You're then going to ask what is your price. It's going to be a sq'irk juice of any kind. We've got one here. What he will then do is he will then take that out of your inventory. So now in our inventory we're going to have a copy of the name. This reveals the name of the queen. And what you want to do now is close out of that, and then you want to equip your ring of Charos, and then you want to go and talk to Ali again, because we actually want to get the original. So you're going to select option number 2 again, and then select option number 1, and then go through this again, and then hopefully this time we will get it. So as you see now, I've got 2 notes in my inventory. I've got a copied one, I've got the original one here. So if you now read the original one, it's exactly the same, but as you'll see in your chat, Papyrus continues a great length in the same manner. Obviously it is a copy, so it's going to be the exact same. Anyway, we're now going to need to hold on to these 2. If you do actually go and look at your quest log, it's not updating because we actually have to hand this stuff over. So you're going to keep it in your inventory for now. Keep both of them in your inventory. If you for some reason lose them, you will have to come back here with another sq'irk juice. You will have to do that stupid mini game again to get another copy, or the original. Alright, okay, so now that we've got both of these copies of the mummy's name, Papyrus, what we're going to do is we're now going to head to Varrock. What we need to do is head to the Varrock Palace Library. So the best way of getting there, coincidentally I actually have a Varrock teleport tab in my inventory, however I'm not actually going to use that. I'm going to use the lodestone, and then from there run into the centre of Varrock, then run into the palace. That's probably your best bet. If you have a teleport that goes to Grand Exchange, then from there just run east, and then you'll be at the palace. Alright, okay, so once you arrive in Varrock, what you're going to do is enter into the palace and come into the library and talk to this person here called Laszlo, and then you can select option number 1. I'd like to talk about the pyramids. Now what we're going to have to do is prove that we are researching this topic, so as long as you have the Alcarid flyer in your inventory, then basically you will be given the information that we need. And then basically what is going to happen is he's actually going to take the flyer from you, and then he's going to give you this scroll of praise here. So now that we've done that, what we're going to have to do is head back out to the desert, back down to the tomb. You're going to want to get back to the tomb the way we did at the start of the quest. So what I'm going to be doing anyway is running down from the lodestone down to the Shanty Pass and getting the magic carpet from here out to the ruins of Uzer, and then running south. Again, if you used the fairy ring earlier on, then you might as well use the fairy ring again because it is a little bit faster. Just a note here as well that we'll be going into a little bit of combat. This is why I've got the food on me originally anyway. If you're taking the magic carpet like me again, then what you want to do is just run directly south, and then you will arrive at the pyramid. If you're using the fairy ring teleportation method, then what you want to do from where you land up is just run in an easterly direction, and you'll eventually come across the pyramid. When I say pyramid tomb, it's all basically the same thing, just for clarification. Anyway, so now that we are back here, what you're going to do is enter back into the pyramids, and then once you're back in the pyramids, in the tomb, what you're going to do is run north. You're then going to run past the boat, and we're going to be going through these stone doors again to our west. You're going to open up the imposing doors, and then what we're now going to do is we're going to go and climb down these stairs. Now we're not actually allowed to pass. What we're going to have to do is kill the golem guards. As you've seen, it only took me 1 hit. If you're a lower combat level, it might be a little bit more difficult. This is why hence I brought a little bit of food. Now once we're down in this layer here, we've got 1 or 2 things we need to do. So make sure for this part you have 3 spare inventory slots. What we're going to do once we come down here is we're going to run in an easterly direction, and then it's going to go off to the southeast. I recommend having 100% run for this bit if you are a lower level, because there are some of these like small crabs which will attack you. Okay, so once we've come down this eastern fork here, what you're going to want to do is pick up the mummy here with no hand. And then in your inventory, if you use the mummy hand, which we picked up earlier, and then use it on the mummy, this will create a full mummy. Now, once you've run down this southeastern tunnel, what you want to do is if you look very, very closely at the map, there's actually a wee red line on the map, and there's also a wee uninviting hole. What we need to do is go through this hole, and then once we're through this hole, what we want to do is literally take about 5 steps south, and then there's also another uninviting hole which we're going to enter through. All these uninviting holes are marked on the mini-map by a little small red line, and coincidentally now we're actually back in the main tomb. If you remember coming up here at the start of the quest, these are some of the golem remains. We've now created a shortcut which will make life a lot easier. But what you want to do is pass back through the cave, go through that hole, and then go back through the other uninviting hole which we came through, and then we'll be back into the area that we're in. So for this next part, as I said, we're going to need 3 inventory spaces. We're going to be picking up 3 more canopic jars. So there's one located right beside the uninviting hole here. If we then go into the northeastern corner, you're going to be able to see another one. They are shown on the minimap by red dots. They all look slightly different as well. You should have one from earlier on, so once we picked up all these 3, we should have 4. The final one is just located round about where the stairs is. From the stairs anyway, all you want to do is go in a westerly direction and you will see it laying on the floor. There we go, that's me now got all 4. Alright, okay, so this next part of the quest is quite confusing. I'm going to talk you through it though. It's probably the most complicated part of the quest, I would say. So what we need to do now is from here, roughly just south of the stairs, we want to cross over this tile path. It's not going to look quite the same as mine. I think everyone else is random, and also your red tile shouldn't be pushed out the ground. I misclicked by accident and I activated that. But I'm going to talk you through this now. So we need to get to the south, over to the other side. The only way to do this is to go over the tile maze. There's certain rules that you have to follow though to get there. 2 things can happen when you step on a tile. As you can see there, tiles have risen. If you step on a certain tile, then basically another type of tile will rise. And if you actually stand from one tile, one colour of tile, to another colour of tile, certain colours anyway, then you will activate a trap which will cost you 20% of your total life points. Now if we look closely here, we can see we have green tiles, red tiles, blue tiles, and these are yellow tiles as well. So these are all the 4 colours that we need to think about. Now these are the rules here. Stepping on a blue tile raises a red tile. Stepping on a red tile raises a green tile. Stepping on a green tile raises a yellow tile. And then finally, stepping on a yellow tile raises a blue tile. So those are the rules for tiles rising. Quite straightforward. This is where it gets a lot more confusing though. These are the rules for triggering traps. So if you step from a green to a red, that triggers a trap. Standing from or stepping from a red tile onto a blue tile, that also triggers a trap. Stepping from a yellow tile to a green tile, that triggers a trap. And then stepping from a blue tile onto a yellow tile, that triggers a trap. Okay, so I hope that all makes sense now. I've got all these rules on screen, or I will have them alternating anyway. So I'm going to have to continuously look over as I make my way across this maze. My maze is most likely not going to be the same as yours. I think it's going to be random for everyone. But what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to keep referring back to the rules and making sure that I try to get across this maze without failing. So as you've seen to start, I actually stood on this blue tile here and it raised the red tiles, meaning I can't stand on them. But one of the rules is that if you go from a blue to yellow, it triggers a trap. So unfortunately I actually just can't go that way whatsoever. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to try to go this way, stepping onto this blue one. Now if we go from a blue to a green, that's a valid move. It's not going to do anything. Well, it's going to raise the yellow ones. So now I have a choice. I can continue onto this green one here. Then what happens if I stand on a red one? So if I step on a red one, it'll cause the green to rise, so that means I'll be barricaded in basically. Not a good idea. But if I step on this blue one here, this is a valid move and shouldn't cause, it's only going to cause the red to rise, which is okay. Now what I'm going to do is step onto this green one here. We just did that back up there, and that's a valid move, we now know that. So as you can tell, this is going to be sort of going back and forth. I'm now going to step onto a blue tile here. Now unfortunately stepping on a yellow tile is going to trigger a trap, and unfortunately it doesn't look like I have anywhere to go. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go back onto this here, and then I'm going to have to stand on the red one, but that also triggers a trap. So as you can see, I'm in a bit of a dilemma here. What I did, however, is I decided to trigger the trap because it was a bit snookered anyway, and then I'm going to move up onto the yellow tile. But if you're wanting to go ahead and try and save all your life points, and this might be a lot longer process for you to complete. Anyway, so from this yellow, unfortunately I can't step onto a green, so that's going to trigger a trap. So I need to go over onto the red tile. That's then going to raise the green tiles, which is kind of rubbish. So I'm going to be going back to the blue tile, which also triggers a trap. I'm now going to go into this yellow tile. That's going to trigger a trap. So I'm losing quite a lot of life points. Anyway, I'm going to continue on advancing here. I've probably done this the worst way possible, but at least I'm getting across anyway. So from green to green, I know I can easily move from blues and greens without a problem. Looking back at my board here, unfortunately it says that moving from green to red triggers a trap. However, I think it is going to be worth it. I'm just going to go for it anyway. I realise that I've hit quite a few traps, but that's me now across. Did not do it the most efficient way. Not at all sure what the most efficient way is. I'm not going to sit for an hour. I went down this left side here. Didn't seem to work out, so maybe try the middle area or try coming down the right side. That's probably your best bet. Alright, okay, so now time to rebuild the mummy. One quick note actually, I needed to write everything down for this next stage. I logged out. I got put back outside at the other side of this, and actually outside the whole tomb in one of the cave systems that we went into. So make sure you do not log out at this stage. If you're watching this video and looking back at it, which I presume you will be doing, just maybe click on your count every few seconds and move the player back around, because you do not want to have to do this again. I've done it again and unfortunately I've run out of food. Okay, so first of all what we're going to do is we're going to come into this room here just to the south, and hopefully the queen should come out of somewhere. Maybe not, I'm not at all sure, but what I'd recommend doing anyway is coming over to the west of the room and then placing the jars on the shelves. And then if we look into our chat down below, let me just get rid of clan a second, and if you look at your chat down below, basically you'll see that it's now 16% complete. Also alternatively, if you go into the quest log, you'll see something similar. Anyway, so once we've got all them 4 jars on the pillars, then we're at 16%. That's fine. Now what we're going to want to do is with the mummy, which we made earlier on, we're going to use this and fill the empty esophagus, I think it's pronounced. Then that's going to give us 8% to take us to 24. Now what you're going to want to do is come over here to the west of the tomb, and you're going to see here is a broken table and a broken chair. What you're going to do is repair these, like so. You're going to get a nice wee bit of construction XP. Now what we're going to do here is use the wheat on the empty pot. We're then going to use the spice in the jug of wine, and that is going to give us a spicy wine and a pot of wheat. If you come over to the east of the esophagus, then you're going to see that there are a broken jug and a broken pot. What you're going to do is replace these. I think you're going to get some cooking XP for both of them. That now takes us all the way up to 36%. Next thing we're going to be doing here is going into a wee bit of combat. So once you're up here, this is going to be different for every player actually. You're going to have to kill this person here. Not going to be too difficult to kill. I'm at combat stats 115 right now. Took me 2 hits to do. And you're going to see these here. There's these scones things which we need to light up. They're different order for every single player. And what's going to happen is after you light one up, it's not that one unfortunately, but what you're going to do after you light one up is that basically another shadow is going to appear, and then basically you're going to have to kill it again, then relight another one. So I'm going to have to light this next one. So basically you can only light one at once, and then basically the shadow will reappear again. Then you'll have to kill the shadow. I think it does get progressively harder, or it does by level anyway, but I don't see any difference at my combat stats. And then what you're going to continue to do is just continue to light these up, and then kill the shadows that spawn, and then with the final one, light the final one up. And then as you see, if you do look into your chat box, you can see 52% right there, and once you kill the last one, we should be at about 56%. Now what you're going to want to do here is you're going to see 5 broken statues around the place and 1 actually intact, like so. So all you want to do here is pray at broken statue, and then what this will do is this will repair the statue. It should be taking off some prayer points from me. Turns out it's not actually taking away as much as I thought it would be. It's only taking off 10 points for some reason, or maybe 13. Originally it said in the guide 200, but obviously Runescape has changed a bit, probably since this last guide was made. But I've managed to do it there quite easily. Now that takes me to 76%. If you want to now, you can go back to Leela and Draenor Village, which I'll be doing in a minute, and claim the reward and finish the quest. However, I'm just going to go all the way to 100% because I might as well. It's quite easy to do, and I'd recommend it because we do have the items in our inventory. If you don't have enough prayer points for some reason, then what you can do is you can do the other stuff and then come back and do these at a later time. So the next thing what we want to do is come over to here, and we're going to create a statue on the statue base over to the east of the tomb. And then that is going to create a statue. Then we're going to need to carve out the statue. That's going to give you some crafting experience. That's going to take us all the way up to 84. And then finally what we're going to do is we're going to talk to the Pharaoh Queen, and then basically what is going to happen is the 2 bits of paper that we got earlier on, the mummy's name, the Pharaoh Queen is going to take that on board, and she's going to learn that that is her original name. You can exit out option number 5, and as you see from the description below, it says you've handed in the documents. She's now at 96%. One thing I missed out on as well, looking back at the chat, I only said I was on 96. If you're on 96, it depends on your crafting level. You might have to come back over to the statue. I hadn't got the statue quite right. I had to recarve into it again, but then I managed to fix it there, and that's me now at 100%. So if you come back into your quest guide here, you can see that all this is gone now, and then everything has been restructured, and I can go and speak to Leela and Draenor Village. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the lodestone and then go back to Draenor Village. Again, once you arrive back in Draenor Village, you want to run south, just to the south of the wheat field, and then go north along where the prison is, back to where Leela is located. You're then going to talk to Leela and then say that everything's been done, restored, and that'll come up with a quest prompt saying quest complete. So congratulations, quest complete. You've completed Missing My Mummy. You're rewarded with 1 quest point, 5,000 coins, 7,000 constitution XP, and 2 treasure hunter keys. Alright, thanks for watching this quest guide. Please leave it a like rating. Currently right now anyway, I'm still working on the desert quest series. So if you're looking to do another quest after this quest, then go into my channel and search for it. If it's not up yet, then it will be up within the next month or 2. Of course, if you've got any questions, then leave a comment in the comment section below, or personal message me, or join my friends chat on Runescape is probably your best bet. Again, thanks for watching. Please leave this a like rating, and I'm out. Adios.